Welcome back to Mouthing Off with Mike, the only wrestling podcast that's very mindful, very demure. Who are we kidding, ladies and gentlemen? I am none of those things. I'm an absolute fucking menace, but this is Mouthing Off with Mike. I'm back. To be honest, ladies and gentlemen, before we even get into this episode, I got to give you a little bit of a disclaimer here. So, I have the biggest creative block that I've had since starting the podcast. And there's been a lot of wrestling that's taken place. I've talked a lot about wrestling after each wrestling show every week, predominantly on the Nightcap on Boom Broadcast. So if you want my instant live post-show reactions of all wrestling, go to Boom Broadcasting, subscribe. Check out the Nightcap Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And this weekend, we will have the first version of the Day Cap because we do have a pay-per-view that is over across the pond out in London. And it'll be like 9 a.m. my time. So we might as well have a little bit of a midday, little afternoon delight, as we like to say. So that first and foremost. I've also got another interview coming down the pipeline this weekend. When you hear this should probably be late Sunday, early morning on the audio and the video side. So I will have another interview coming with another incredible independent pro wrestler who just so happens to be a fellow Italian brother. And then, of course, I will also have some all-in Wembley 2024 predictions coming out this week. Stay on the lookout for those. Those will probably drop. If I can get it done, they'll probably drop Tuesday or Wednesday night. So keep that in mind. But without further ado, let's get into the show. I went to Twitter this week and I asked you, what do you guys want me to talk about? And we had one request that we'll get into in the return of the final mouth off, which at It's All Amore 716 asked me on Twitter, favorite entrance themes from TNA, Ring of Honor, WWE, WWF, WCW, New Japan, ECW, and AEW. So I will touch base on that later on in the final mouth off. So let's get into this episode. I'm going to touch base on some of the big storylines taking place in professional wrestling, including Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Timeless Tony Storm and Mariah May, and of course, last but certainly not least, Swerve Strickland and Bryan Danielson. So let's get into Mouthing Off with Mike. Let's do this thing, folks.
Mouthing Off with Mike. Mouthing Off with Mike. Mouthing Off with Mike.
I absolutely love a good, long, drawn-out, winded intro to videos and podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a busy man with a lot of things on his plate. My plate looks like Thanksgiving dinner, man. It is full to the rim of all sorts of crazy things and crazy events and craziness in the day-to-day of my life. Much like all of us, life can come in like a wrecking ball. You know what I'm saying? Listen, in the words of Matt Hardy's theme song, I can slap a tornado. But ladies and gentlemen, when that tornado is my life, it's very hard to do that. So this week, I just had a lot on my plate, man. And I'll kind of get a little, I wouldn't say personal, but I definitely get a little bit more vulnerable here. It's been crazy. From doing the live shows at night to creating content and coming up with ideas to setting up things to social media, to this, and the other thing, to, coming together with my amazing and wonderful girlfriend, who is also my graphic designer, coming up with, fun and exciting graphics. But this week, I didn't know what to talk about. And I toyed with, let's just break some stuff down. So I want to break some things down. First and foremost, I want to start with one of the best women's storylines in WWE in quite some time. And that's the love triangle. The love triangle of Liv Morgan, Dirty Dom, and Rhea Ripley. People fail to remember that about 2.5 years ago, Dirty Dom was a squeaky clean good guy, baby face. Pop was Rey Mysterio. He was just happy to be here. He's tagging up with Edge. They're having themselves a little match. And then Dom does the unthinkable. He low blows Edge. He then beats up his own father. Now, this is after weeks of Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day, the very first version of the Judgment Day, just absolutely antagonizing, manipulating him, just all of the things just getting in his head and just changing his perception on what his father is and what he does for him. And then there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The flip switches. Dirty Dominic Mysterio is born. And we go these last 2 years with some of the most deafening boos from fans, from crowds all across the globe, whether it's on television, whether it's a live event, whatever it may be. Dirty Dominic was getting booed out of the damn building. Well, Dirty Dom, he's right there. Mommy. Rhea Ripley is his mommy, right? Starts calling her mommy. Rhea is the leader, quote-unquote leader of the Judgment Day, right? There was no leaders. They originally, Edge starts the group. He brings in Damian Priest. He brings in Rhea Ripley. They bring in Finn Balor. Finn Balor turns on Edge. They beat up Edge. Edge gets a Hell in a Cell match against the Demon, Finn Balor, at WrestleMania 39. I was there for it. You understand? I was there for that. And Edge beats Balor, thus effectively ending any chances we saw of the Demon, right, up to this point. Then everything progresses. Boom, 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 bam. Now we're kind of in the tail end of this, right? Now, SummerSlam happens. There's been Rhea's out, right? As we know. Rhea gets taken out by Liv. Liv was taken out by Rhea, right, during that timeline. It's kind of like a all over the place type of timeline here, but the point remains, right? All of this takes place. Well, there's all these different moving parts with this story. Now, Dom, he gets chicken nuggets, and he gets a PlayStation, and the Judgment Day get the tag titles back, Balor and JD McDonough, and Liv Morgan helps this man beat his father for the first time. Dirty Dom did nothing wrong. Hear me out. Remember, Rhea Ripley manipulated him to get to that point, to bring him into the Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley, in turn, caused this herself, right? Rhea hurts Liv. Liv comes back with vengeance. Liv takes out Rhea. Rhea has to relinquish the Women's World Championship with a week to becoming the longest Women's World Champion, which a little sad about that one. Liv then beats Becky, becomes the Women's World Champion. And then, at SummerSlam, right, as we know, Dominic Mysterio decides, you know what? Fuck you, Rhea Ripley, he says. He costs her this match and then effectively joins Liv Morgan, gives her a big old kiss, and that's it. The rest is history. Now, Rhea and Priest, as we know, Priest was turned on by Finn. Now, Rhea and Priest are together in this, the Terror Twins. They're going to take on Liv and Dom at Bash in Berlin in 2 weeks. But remember how this all started. I just want to put that in the back of your minds. Remember, Rhea Ripley manipulated and antagonized with the Judgment Day Dominic into submission and into becoming the Dominic Mysterio we know now. So why not? Why wouldn't he go with the woman who calls him daddy, who gives him chicken tendies, nuggies, gets him a PlayStation 5, helps his teammates win tag gold, helps him with the problems of his enemies and his father. So this has been incredible storylining, telling from Triple H and Dom and Rhea and Liv and, of course, Priest and the rest of the Judgment Day. Even Carlito. Carlito has been knocking it out of the park. It's just like I'm just here, man. I'm just here, which I love. Now you look at the men's side of things. You got a beautiful story to tell as well with Damian and Finn. Those two have a lot of history together. Finn beat Damian, right? There's the United States title picture that was there at one point. Damian was U.S. champ. Things are all starting to jog your memory, right? That's another long-term story that we have here with Finn and Priest. Not only do we have that tension when they were, when he was Money in the Bank briefcase holder Priest and Finn was going up against Seth for the world title, but also now you have the tension of Priest being the world champion and Finn having to sit here idly by as he's never gotten a chance since Seth. Priest never said, "Hey, buddy, you want a shot at the world title, man? Like we're in the same group, but like let's just go out there and do it up out of respect because I respect you." That never happened, right? So Finn could easily call back to all of these things. I beat you for the U.S. title. I beat you at SummerSlam because I cost you the world title. I brought you into the next level of your career with the Judgment Day. I had your back all that time, and you couldn't throw me a title shot. That's going to be a great story. That's going to be a great story when it starts to pick up steam. You kind of got that on the back burner right now, right? We have so much going on. We have Bash in Berlin in a week, right? Randy Orton versus Gunther. That's incredible. Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. That's incredible. More than you got the mixed tag match with Rhea, Liv, Dom, and Priest. That's going to be damn good. And I'm sure I'm forgetting something else that's probably... Oh, and more than likely, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre in a strap match. Because this past week on Raw, Drew thought Punk wasn't here. Drew's about to go attack Randy. No. Here comes CM Punk. They fight. Takes his belt off Drew. And he ends up getting whipped by Punk by the belt. So ladies and gentlemen, get the strap. Pause. I know where all your heads went. Not that strap. I'm talking about the belt. Get the belt strap. Time out. Put him up in a strap match. Let me see something. CM Punk has been the king of these strap matches, these dog collar matches. In AEW, how many fire ass matches did he have in AEW with those wild stipulations? I'm all for it. This storyline, great. Another one. Who would have thought that on CM Punk's return to WWE, the feud that he would be propelled into is not one with Seth Rollins. Yes, that's there in the background, but it's one with Drew McIntyre. I didn't think that was going to be the situation and the direction they went in, but that's a great direction. There's so many parallels with those careers. Drew and Punk. Punk is hitting his stride as Drew is the chosen one at this point in WWE, right? The Straight Edge Society. Drew's winning IC titles. They even had a tag team at one point. They had to join forces to combat an enemy. There's so much detail. And of course, right, Drew steals that bracelet. And Punk even tells everyone, because everyone's like, "Oh, this is stupid. It's about a bracelet." It's not the bracelet that he cares about. It's the principle. It's the fact that you're wearing my wife and my dog, my family's names on your wrist. And that disrespect does not go unnoticed. That story, there's so much meat on the bone still. You do a strap match at Bash in Berlin. Maybe you tie the series up. One Punk, one Drew. Then you go to Bad Blood. There is no way in hell that Punk and Drew is going to be in a Hell in a Cell. Now, if that happens, I will eat my words and I don't know, I'll figure something out. I'll do something for you guys if I'm wrong. Because Punk has said it so many times. He is not in the age in his career where he can go into a Hell in a Cell, even how they've changed it and safer and all of these things, that he can go into a Hell in a Cell at this age. And quite honestly, me personally, as a fan watching that, I don't want to see him risk injury in a Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell is a very dangerous game. And I know that they've made the changes with the cell and it's a lot safer, just like the Elimination Chamber. But even still at that point, that match takes a lot out of you. And I think a Hell in a Cell is more suited for Liv and Rhea at Bad Blood. I think Drew and Punk should be First Blood. I think it should be 3 stages of hell. Dare I say, I would not be upset at an Iron Man match. For that third match. Because I think you do 3. You do, Drew gets 1 at SummerSlam. Punk gets 1 back at Bash. Then that third match, you got to really figure out how you want to book it, right? Triple H. How do you want to take that? Do you want Punk to win? Do you want to see Punk then propelled to the title and get destroyed by Gunther? Then what do you do with Drew, right? So this third match is very crucial in the storytelling because you have to branch it out. Because if Punk beats Drew and leaves Drew in the dust, where does Drew go from there? And then vice versa, if Drew beats Punk, where does Punk go? Does he go right to Seth? Does Seth make his return after being tsunamied half a dozen times by Bronson Reed a few weeks ago? These are the real questions, right, that I'm asking. And then as you're sitting here listening, watching to this, think about it, right? You can go in a couple different directions for a lot of these stories, but for Punk and Drew, most importantly, you have these branches, because if you have Punk branch off and go now towards the title, you're going to have him lose to Gunther. Now you have Drew go to the title. Drew's hasn't beaten Gunther either. So Drew loses to Gunther. So then at that point, it's like, okay, where do you go? And I think they stay together somehow. Punk and Drew's feud continues even past Bad Blood. And then I think you get the returning Seth Rollins in the mix, and then you can talk maybe the triple threat that I've been adamantly pulling for. Now, I know people are like, wow, why do you need a triple threat for this match? Well, I'll tell you why you need a triple threat for this match. When was the last time that you had three men who all hate each other as much as these three men do, without a title being in the picture, and then you could sell that as a main event? That triple threat could main event any premium live event. You hear that? You hear that at your door? Let that sink in. Open it up. Let it in. Let that sink in. Man, we got some great lighting here today, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that lighting. Oh my goodness. I got the window open. I know that's bad when you do videos, but like I just needed a little sunlight in my life, you know? Sometimes you just gotta release your inhibitions, baby, and feel the rain on your skin. You know what I'm saying? Or the sunshine. You know what I'm saying? I got a pocket full of sunshine here today. Let's go ahead and pop that out. Told you this episode was going to be weird. Maybe not weird, but this episode definitely was going to be more unstructured. Usually I'm very structured. I've got pop, 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 pop. Right? You've seen me do the nightcap. I'm like pop, 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 pop. Here, I'm just kind of like, what are we doing? How you doing? You know? But seriously, these feuds, incredible. What WWE's cooking up is so good. And then you got to talk about it, right? Right here. I'm wearing a shirt. Karrion Kross, the final testament with this New Day story. Great work. This is what I've wanted from Karrion. This is what I've wanted from this group. They don't need to win. They don't need to lose. They just need to cause chaos and make people question themselves, which is what Woods is doing. He's questioning Kofi. He doesn't know what Kofi's doing with Odyssey Jones. Why? All of a sudden, now you're bringing in this guy, you know, and you're basically like replacing me? And then you're going out and you're agreeing to these 6-man tag matches with a guy that I don't know. He's not our brother. He's not Big E. You know, are you? And then Kross says it, like, he's not trying to replace Big E. He's trying to replace you, Woods. Great subtle detailing there. That I cannot be upset about this. I know there's a lot of people that are like, Karrion Kross, wah, he's boring, he's this. You guys don't listen. That's the problem. That's a lot of what wrestling fans have a problem with. Listen, most of you, as a broad generalization, so let me just preface that. Most wrestling fans I see, they don't actively listen. They have an active listening problem. Listen, hear me out. They hear these promos, they hear these stories, and then they immediately go to respond. They listen to respond. They don't listen to listen. And if you listen to everything that they say in these promos, they're here to corrupt and disrupt the whole landscape of Monday Night Raw and the tag team division. They will take over inevitably. Would not be shocked when this story's done, the final testament, move on to the Judgment Day and start putting cracks in the Judgment Day. That's their role. Karrion Kross, he put that dial, you know, that sand, it's dropped. I can't remember what it's called. He put that little, that sand, right? Turned it over. the sands of time on the bloodline ran out shortly thereafter. AJ Styles, he changed AJ Styles. He changed Drew McIntyre. He beat Rey Mysterio. He changed Rey Mysterio. Kofi Kingston is starting to change. Woods is starting to change. He's beaten 7 world champions. Put some respect on that man's name. Seriously. Legit. He can go in the ring. He can talk on the mic. He has the character. Just give it a chance. Let them put that to your forefront. Just let it play out. That's all I ask. Last, but certainly not last, we have to talk about the Bloodline story on WWE side. And then we'll switch into AEW here, and we'll finish with the final mouth off, talk a little about some theme songs, which I love. Dude, every day in my roto, there's wrestling theme songs, which is you're a wrestling fan, you know. When I'm in the gym, there's wrestling theme songs on. You know what I'm saying? When I'm getting a workout in, theme songs on. Great pump music for the most part. But also just good. Sometimes it's just good music, or you're just hanging out, you're like, you know, you gotta get hyped up for, like, you know, if you're working, you know, you gotta get hyped up for that shift. Boom, get you hyped up with a little across the nation. You know what I'm saying? Something crazy. You know, a little burning to the ground, right? The Bloodline story, incredible. I told you. I told everybody. I told everybody this with Michael Davis on Out of Pocket. They called me a madman. They called me crazy. They said I was delusional. When I said that when Roman drops the title, the story that they will be able to tell will be unmatched. And that's exactly what's happening. This fake bloodline is running rampant across SmackDown, to the point Roman returns at SummerSlam, costing his cousin the match because Solo wants to cosplay as him. Right? He starts his own bloodline. He gets his own family, brings in the Tongans. He brings in that absolute menace, the werewolf himself, the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu. Roman gets taken out by him. He's got a boot on his foot, gets super kick put through the table. Roman's gone now for a month. He'll be back in September. The Ulafala, the power, the Samoan dynasty, that when you don the Ulafala, you are the tribal chief. You are the head of the table. That those beads are so powerful in this story. The story itself is so powerful. All I'm saying is if you look at it from, take yourself out of your fandom for Roman. This is for the Roman fans. Take yourself out of the fandom. Who realistically is challenging Roman for the title right now? Who? Solo? No, because Solo would still be in line with Roman. Maybe he would turn on him. It'd be a little bit of a different angle, but it would have still happened like it did, where they split. Because then Roman has nobody. Roman has nothing still to this day right now. He doesn't have Jay. He doesn't have Jimmy. Jimmy was taken out. He doesn't have the Wise Man. Wise Man taken out. He only has himself. And he only has himself to blame for them not coming to his aid. And that's where I come in and I say, look, I want to see Roman appear on Raw. Like when he's ready. Like when he's back from the kayfabe, you know, got taken out by the fake bloodline and Jacob Fatu. He should be on the phone with Paul Heyman. He should be on the phone with Jay. He should be on Raw and saying to Jay and Sammy, like, hey, sorry. And them say, no, we don't accept your apologies. We're done with you. You're not coming. And then, you know, have some way where Roman can redeem himself, can regain their trust, that family that he has. Because otherwise it's just going to be like, oh, well, Jimmy and Jay and Sammy all decided just to go back with Roman. There's no in between there. It's like, oh, yeah, come on, bro. Yeah, I'll help you out. Beat up Solo and his bloodline. Like, no, there needs to be in-depth pieces. There needs to be a lot of moving pieces. But I told you, the best thing that could have happened to the bloodline story, because now it's so much fresher. I want to see what a Roman Reigns looks like without a title. I want to see what he looks like without his family, without the Ulafala. I want to see how you bring him back to the head of the table. I'm not going to get any further in depth on that because I could probably spend another 40 minutes just talking about this alone. Maybe later this week or next week's episode, I'll deep dive into the bloodline stuff. But for now, on its surface, this story, incredible. This is exactly how I wanted things to play out. Roman loses everything. He lost his family. He lost his title. He has no one. He lost his wise man. That right there, that's wrestling storytelling 101. The redemption arc is coming, and it's going to be glorious. Floating to the AEW side, we've got a lot of different storylines that progressed. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, the CEO, Mercedes Moné, the three-letter acronyms on the marquee for All In. DMD, CEO. DMD, truthfully, in my opinion, has carried the promo work. Mercedes has carried the cowardly heel hiding behind her bodyguard in Camille beautifully. There was a little awkward interaction this past week on Dynamite. I have nothing negative to say really besides just like you can tell that they haven't really worked together, right? Well, obviously they haven't. So you can tell like they need to get some chemistry. And I'm sure that the chemistry will come this week. They'll probably run through some stuff, talk everything through, kind of pull down the curtain a little bit. So they'll be able to effectively bring the story together. But there definitely was some awkward, moments in that little kind of standoff before we went to, the lead off here, the jump off till All In Wembley. We have the last Dynamite this week. They're in Cardiff, Wales, which is great. It'll be a pre-tape show for Wednesday and Friday. On the Rampage side, pretty sure Saraya is going up against Toni Storm. Not really sure about that decision. Why? Obviously, Saraya won the title last year at Wembley. Shortly thereafter, dropped it to Timeless Toni, and then thus kickstarted everything that we've seen here now with Mariah and Toni. Mariah and Toni, 100%. If I've said this many a times on the Nightcap, I've said this with Four Sides of the Ring, I've said this on Drop the Mic, I've said this on Out of Pocket, I've said this on Mouthing Off with Mike. If Swerve and Danielson, if Danielson's not having the career versus title match, Mariah and Toni main event. No ifs, ands, or buts. This story has been, dare I say, the best women's story AEW has put on in its 5-year history. Now, don't get me wrong. Thunder and Britt was incredible. Julia and the Sky Blue stuff was good. Julia winning the title, Julia with the Chris stuff was good. Willow, that whole storyline was good. This best women's storyline to date. And I'll stand on that. I will stand on that. That's my personal opinion. Remember, this is Mouthing Off with Mike. These are my show. This is my show. These are my thoughts. These are my opinions. And I'll tell you right now, Mariah and Toni, the best women's feud in AEW's history. Speaking of another women's feud, Chris and Willow. I don't want to say I'm upset about it because I don't put that much stock in wrestling to be upset. Like people just they want to bitch and moan. And listen, I've done my fair share of bitching and moaning. You can go and watch the video from 4 or 5 months ago, right? From when AEW aired the footage. It's on my channel, and I was fucking ranting and raving. I was crashing out. I said, this is fucking stupid. Why would you show that fucking footage? You embarrassed yourself. You embarrassed your talent. You embarrassed your company. And then the heel EVPs and the heel elite came in, and they attacked Tony Khan, and he's wearing a neck brace at the NFL draft, and Jack Perry's an absolute fucking dickhead, and the Young Bucks are menaces to everybody and anybody. And then you lost steam on it. So, little disappointed in that fact. Because you used that very, very controversial tape. The conversations for months and weeks were like that, all about that, how stupid and this and that. And I even said, I was like, this is fucking stupid. But then I sat back and I thought about it, and I said, I jumped the shark. Then the following week, I was like, you know what? After seeing them, how they played this out, it made sense. So I'll cut them some slack on that. All In Wembley. Jack Perry, Darby Allin, coffin match. The founder, Marcus, of Four Sides of the Ring, he said it. They're going to pull out a fucking glass coffin. I have no doubt in my mind now. After he said that, he put that thought in my mind. I'm like, yup, that's happening. Another women's feud. This is where I'm a little disappointed. Kind of went off on a little sidebar there. Willow and Chris. It's been going on for a few months. Chris turned her back on Willow, costing her the TBS championship against Mercedes Moné back in May. Look at your calendars. It's August. They've had some matches on Dynamite. Had some matches on Rampage. Chris beat Willow, and she deserves a shot at the CMLL Women's Championship. But instead of giving 3 top women's feuds time on the main card, we relegate Chris and Willow to the buy-in in a mixed tag match. Now, don't get me wrong. I can't wait to see Stokely Hathaway get his ass chopped from left to right, up, down, sideways, all around, bring it around town. He's going to get his ass slapped by Ishii. But I feel some type of way that Tony Khan, you were that close. You were this close, my man. You were this close. This close. You could have had Willow versus Chris, this grudge match feud on the main card. You could have had DMD and CEO on the main card. You could have had Tony and Mariah on the main card. But what do you put on the main card instead? And this is where I'm chapped. I'm a little chapped about this. You put fucking Jericho and Hook for the FTW championship on the main card of All in Wembley. Why? 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 I don't understand that booking decision. We need to get out of the Jericho verse, the Jericho vortex, whatever, the Jericho zone. We need to get Hook out of that. It is not doing him any favors. He has been in the company for 5 years, Hook. He has wrestled for the FTW championship and won that title. Probably will be 3 times now. He's competed for the AEW World Championship once. TNT title, International Championship, Continental Championship, Ring of Honor Pure, Ring of Honor TV. The titles go on and on. The mid-card titles, there's a long list. There's a laundry list of titles. But yet it's got to end, man. That's like my one thing. My one thing I'm irked about with this All in Wembley card. Everything else is heating up. You could argue, like, look, the Acclaim Young Bucks FTR thing, I knew that was coming a mile away. As soon as Acclaim called out FTR in that promo after Blood and Guts, I was like, oh, triple threat. That made official. What I didn't see coming is a 4-way ladder match for the Trios Championships being announced. I did not see that coming. With a mystery team to be revealed this week on, I believe it to be Collision, which I think is airing Thursday or Friday. I'm all screwed up because they're in Cardiff, so everything's all kind of ass backwards. So if you guys in the comments tell me what's going on with that. So that gets added. I'm cool with that. That's gravy. Trios titles, I need them kind of reestablished, right? The patriarchy are gonna do that. The AEW tag division, we talked a lot about this on the Dynamite Nightcap this past week. Go check it out on Boom Broadcasting. It's on demand. What the fuck happened to that tag team division? You got tag teams like the Outrunners. You got the Infantry down there in Ring of Honor. You got Top Flight. I don't know why does it have to always be the Acclaimed, FTR, and the Young Bucks? Like, I love all 3 of those teams. I love the Acclaim. I got my Acclaim shirt back there in a closet. Shout out to her Twitter username is escaping me right now. She's an amazing Twitter person on Twitter who hooked it up for me back like last year at the New York show. I saw this sick ass Acclaim shirt with the Statue of Liberty scissoring. I was like, I need that in the t-shirt collection. And so just so coincidentally, she tweeted and she was like, I have an extra large. I have an extra large of this shirt. They gave me the wrong size. I'm just trying to make, money back on it because they, screwed up the shirt and I needed an XL instead of a large. I was like, hey, I'll buy it off your hands. Hell yeah. Like, I love the shirt. I bought it. So shout out to her. If I can, flash up her handle in post, and you guys can check it out if I remember, because honestly, this is going to be like one of those episodes that I just pop out there and I'm like, hey, surprise, motherfuckers, Mouthing Off with Mike is here. This is the part of the show where things break down. This is the part of the song where the beat gets real loud and it gets real intense and no one makes a sound. If you could pick up that song lyric, I'll give you $5. I'll give you $5. You can give me what that song lyric's from. Not a fan of Jericho and Hook getting on the main card. Not a fan of Chris and Will getting relegated to a mixed tag match, which I still will be entertaining to see Stokely get chopped. But damn, Tony, you were so close, dude. You could have had 3 top-tier women's rivalries on your card on the biggest show of AEW's year. This is their WrestleMania, quote-unquote, right? Next year, it's going to be in Texas. It's going to be in Arlington, Texas, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all In is coming. Really missed opportunity to call it Y'all In. I didn't come up with that. I got to give credit to the Twitter people. I saw somebody on Twitter post that, and I got to run with it. It was hilarious. Shout out to you. And then last but certainly not least, on this All In Wembley card, I caught myself. Bryan Danielson, Swerve Strickland, AEW World Title match. Title versus career. If Danielson loses, he's finished. He's wrapping it up. If Swerve loses, no longer Swerve's house as the champ. This is a tough one because at the end of the day, we all know Bryan Danielson is not going to retire at All In. He will beat Swerve. My guest on the nightcap this week, Derek the Devastator, host of Derek's Wrestling Toys and Tees, the founder, Marcus, of Four Sides of the Ring. We talked a lot about this. Hangman Adam Page wants blood. He wants one man and one man only, and that's Swerve. Swerve loses the title at All In Wembley to a celebration of Bryan Danielson, and then Bryan Danielson drops that title. Maybe Darby. Maybe Orange Cassidy. Maybe back to Swerve. Maybe to Hangman. A lot of different options. You got Wrestle Dream down the pipeline. You've got a big New York show. If I were to put my bottom dollar on it, Bryan Danielson drops the title at Wrestle Dream in Washington, in his home state, to one of the Washington wrestlers, Swerve or Darby. My best guess, if Darby doesn't beat Jack Perry, who also unveiled the custom TNT title, which, how many custom TNT titles do we need? If Darby beats Jack for that TNT championship, okay, then fine. So be it. That'll put that right to rest. Darby doesn't. Very well could see Darby regaining himself, getting back up in the rankings and going after Danielson. Because and it all depends on who wins the Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal. A lot of rumors swirling that that's going to be the Ricochet debut. I'd argue, yeah, probably will be. Going to be very interesting to see. It's going to be very interesting to see who that fourth team is going to be for that ladder match for the Trios Championships. But AEW has been telling good stories. Telling a story of Jeff Jarrett, telling Bryan Danielson, like, you lost the edge. All of these guys, Eddie Kingston even came, with his torn ACL, caught a video package on his couch. Shout out to him. Talking about Danielson, you don't got it in you anymore, dude. Everyone's doubting Danielson. Everyone's saying, Danielson, you don't have it. You're not, you can't do it. You can't win the big one. Guys, it's all right there in front of you. The storyline is right there. Danielson wins the big one at Wembley, at their biggest show, with the final countdown going off in the background with the pyro and the confetti and the streamers and the crowd going nuts. It's going to be good. It's going to be incredible. Wembley is going to be a fun show. My only gripe is that one match, man. That FTW championship should be on the buy-in. Doesn't need to be on the main card. And if anything at this point, fuck it. Make the FTW an official title. Because you're using that title half the time more than you're using your other mid-card titles. Continental Championship, I'm sure that will be defended against Okada will defend that against probably Claudio Castagnoli, maybe Hangman. I think Hangman probably going to be in the gauntlet. everything's kind of up in the air. That's why I'm saying, like, come back to the channel this week. I'll have my predictions for All in Wembley. We'll get into a little bit more in depth with some of these stories and who I think is going to win, what's going to happen after. You love a good mouthing off with my prediction pick video. That's everything that I really wanted to talk about here right now. I will say, shout out to all of you for viewing the Nightcap on Boom Broadcasting. I'm putting up numbers that I didn't even think that we would be able to do. You guys are incredible. All the support that I get from all of you who watch and listen to my content. I humbly, from the bottom of my heart, I greatly appreciate it, because at the end of the day, I am not a podcaster. I'm just a dude who fucking loves wrestling and loves to hear himself talk, who got a little mic on a little stand here. He's got a little camera, put up a bunch of fucking Funkos. This wall of Funkos keeps getting taller and taller and taller, right? We got some new additions to the gaggle here. We got a little Dominic Mysterio next to his new girl Liv, and you got Mommy on the outside, looking in. You got Seth friggin' Rollins, you know what I'm saying? I had Zelina, and I had it was the Zelina. I had another Dirty Dom. They actually had to send me a replacement. Fucking Funkos, man. I don't take them out of the box. I'm a weirdo like that. I think they look better in the box. So my Dirty Dom came messed up, man. He came jacked up. I think somebody at the distribution was like, Dominic Mysterio. He just threw it on the ground and threw it in my box. So shout out to the Funko wall. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, man, because at one point it's just gonna keep going, and I don't have room to go above this line. So once we fill this gap here, it's cooked. It's cooked. Maybe I'll have to start pulling them out and changing them around, and just for shits and giggles. But nevertheless, man, I want to thank all of you. Thank all of the amazing people that I work with at Boom Broadcasting, that I collaborate with. Four Sides of the Ring, Booking Like a Mark, Eric 8-Bit, Derek. Man, there's so many to name that I'm going to forget somebody. Shout out to Top Notch Dyson Bennett, my good brother. That interview came out last week. I'd love for you guys to check it out. He's a great dude. He's a great wrestler. He's up and coming. I'll have an interview dropping this week with my Italian brother. He is an incredible independent wrestler out in the Florida scene. He goes by the name of TJ Brady. He's got himself a nice faction down there. He's a champion as well. So we'll get to chop it up with the champ this week. Be on the lookout for that interview, as that will drop more than likely this weekend. I'm hoping I can get it out by Saturday so that it's before the Wembley. My predictions will more than likely come out Tuesday or Wednesday, because I know Tony's going to add a bunch of shit to the card. So I'm not going to cover everything. I'm going to cover the meat and potatoes, as they say. Last thing I want to say. Be careful what you say on social media, because Triple H might be in Gorilla scrolling. Just saying. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Mouthing Off with Mike. I'm Mike. Let's get into the final mouth off, where I'm going to answer, what are some of my favorite theme songs in wrestling history? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the final segment of Mouthing Off with Mike. The final mouth off has returned after a 3-week hiatus. Typically, this is usually where I give you my unedited, unscripted thoughts on pro wrestling, where I kind of reach into the bag and I just start pulling things out. Well, I told you earlier in this whole episode, your boy has got a creative block the size of Texas, and I really could not tell you what I wanted to discuss. So I came together with some nice talking points, I think. So if you enjoyed this episode, just know I had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. But I did take to Twitter, and I asked all of you, what do you guys want me to talk about this week? One person told me what they wanted me to talk about. So shout out to It's All Amore 716 on Twitter. He is an awesome dude. Always supporting Mouthing Off with Mike. Always supporting Boom Broadcasting. So give him a follow. Show him some love. He's a wrestling fan. He's a sports fan. And he's just an overall good dude. So he asked me some of my favorite themes from TNA, Ring of Honor, WWE, WWF, WCW, New Japan, ECW, and AEW. Now, I'll tell you right now, can't give you any from New Japan because I'm not the biggest New Japan watcher. I'm sorry. As for WCW, got to kind of go into the tank, but let's be real. The best song in WCW was, in my personal opinion, the NWO song. It went hard. From the TNA side, man, AJ Styles theme song, like Fortune's theme song, and I'll hit you with an absolute classic. I'm a big Hardy Boys mark. I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh boy, yeah, it's right there. Boom. We're just spinning around here. I'm spinning like never mind. Just gonna hold that thought. The ADHD brain is beating my ass today. I'm gonna always hit you with Another Me. Another Me by Jeff Hardy. Top notch. I'm trying to think of his OG. I think it was Another Me. And then he had that heel song, which was also fire. Fortune had a good one. Beer Money was a great one. How could you forget Beer Money? Classic Ring of Honor. I gotta hit you with the CM Punk. You always gotta go with the CM Punk. WWE, I could hit you with a ton. The old SmackDown theme song, Rise Up. Don't Question My Heart. The ECW Revival theme song was a banger. No More Words. My Time Is Now. Basic Thugonomics. Burning My Light. Line in the Sand. Sexy Boy. Shawn Michaels theme song. Booker T. I Lie, I Cheat, I Steal. Eddie Guerrero. One of a Kind. RVD. What else we got? I'll give you an AEW one. Elevated for sure. I do like MJF's theme song. Obviously, I love Flight of the Valkyries. Brian Danielson, Daniel Bryan's song. Across the Nation, Burn It to the Ground. Just Want to Be Loved. Fuck, such good themes from the Raw side. Damn, I'm drawing a blank right now. I Hate Him. I'm not a big fan of his, but Real American by Hogan's. I am a real, like, that's a banger, dude. I can't even front on that. Dusty Rhodes, American Dream. That's a fucking banger. The Game, Triple H. Come on now. The DX thought song. The New Age Outlaws went hard as fuck. Mark Henry when he had that 3-6 Mafia. Somebody. Oh god, such a banger, dude. If you're ever in a serious, like, you gotta like fight someone. And you're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to prep for it, dude. You got to throw fucking that 3-6 Mafia and somebody go and get their neck broke. Man, there's a lot. Let's see. I'll do something for the first time ever on the stream. I'll actually pull them up on my phone. Got to give some love to Rhea Ripley, Brutality. Forever and Always will love Rebel Heart. What else we got? I'm Back, Eric Bischoff. Here Comes the Money. Obviously, he's an absolute piece of shit, and fuck him, but No Chance in Hell. The Buka 619. The Rey Mysterio, Who's That Jumping Out the Sky? R-E-Y, yeah, Mysterio. Here we go. Deadly Game, I'm Coming MVP. Such a fucking great entrance with the blow-up inflatable tunnel. Break Down the Walls, man. This Fire Burns. Definitely got Rise Up in there. Fury of the Storm was a good one. Deadly Game, absolutely. I'm looking right off the WWE Reckless Intent album. Definitely, you gotta love. I love the Burn the Ships. The Common Man Boogie from Dusty Rhodes is great. John Morrison, Ain't No Make Believe. Yeah, those are some of my favorites, man. I named about like 30 songs there. So shout out to It's All Amore 716. That's a great question, man. I don't get to talk enough about the wrestling theme songs. And there's so many good ones. Obviously, Def Rebel has completely made me hate some of these theme songs, but they got some good ones. Like the Family's theme is pretty good. The Roman Reigns first Tribal Chief theme is good. The new one's pretty good. Down Straight always comes with the bangers. Show Off. I Came to Play. Obviously, Kingdom, Cody Rhodes. Obviously, Cult of Personality's in there. The Final Countdown is a great one, too. That's pretty much it. So, good question. Shout out to It's All Maury 716. I appreciate you asking that question. I appreciate your support for Mouthing Off with Mike. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to have fun here today. Just be consistent. Just get me out there on your YouTube devices, on your audio platforms. This will be a late one, so you probably won't hear this one maybe till midnight, past midnight on the East Coast. I don't think I'm going to throw anything crazy together for the editing. But yeah, we'll have fun with this, man. All in predictions coming at you. Bash in Berlin predictions coming at you the following week. Interview with TJ Brady coming at you. And the nightcap, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, after Wembley is all done and the dust has settled, join me on Boom Broadcasting about 10 minutes after that show ends for the debut of the Day Cap. Now, as I said it earlier, we should have called it the Afternoon Delight, but to keep in term and the theme with the nightcap, the Day Cap. So make sure you got your mimosas. Make sure you got your coffee, because we're going to be getting into a discussion about that all-in Wembley pay-per-view as soon as it's over and done with. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for reviewing. If you could, if you're on the YouTube side, go subscribe to the channel. Go subscribe to Boom Broadcasting. Show some love to my peers. Like I mentioned them earlier, there's so many to include, but there's some amazing content creators out there. So go show some love to them. That's everything. I'm out of here. Just go out there, have fun, enjoy wrestling. Don't take it too serious. This has been Mouthing Off with Mike. I'm Mike. Goodbye.
Mouthing off with Mike. Mouthing off with Mike. Mouthing off with Mike.